Good evening, everyone, all the way from Azusa, California. The question that I get asked all the time is, when I'm going through a difficult time, my life is a bit heavy or stressful, how do I flush that out? Should I always go to meditation? Should I do some journaling? I don't know what I need to do. But for me, as a Buddhist monk, of course, I would always share with you that you need to meditate and to develop a meditation daily habit, and that will be very helpful. But push that to the side. Today, I want to give you another alternative solution or another alternative mindset that can maybe helpful for you, because sometimes life happens, and sometimes life happens very hard, and just going through meditation can be challenging at times for beginners. So again, I want to give you a different perspective. To give you the tool, I want to give you an analogy of meditation first. I'm going to go the roundabout way, so just bear with me. And when I first went into the monastery, of course, our teaching monks taught us how to meditate. In that environment, the setting was quite challenging because for me, I was still newer to meditation. I've never meditated so much in my life, but as a Buddhist monk, as a new monk, we meditate 4 times a day. So early morning, late morning, afternoon, and then in the evening. And these were quite long sessions. They taught us the basics of meditation. They taught us the obstacles that you will face in meditation, such as sleepiness, such as your mind wandering, having wandering thoughts, having doubts, having sleepiness, having pain. So can any of you relate to this? But all of this is very normal. Then to counter these hindrances and obstacles, what they teach us are tools of how to refocus our attention. And one way that we can refocus our attention is with a mantra. So just a word or a phrase that we can use over and over again that can anchor our attention. Another way that we can overcome some of our obstacles is with visualization. So just imagining a bright light, the sun, Buddha statue, island that is very relaxing, but anything that is visual that can anchor your attention as well. We're taught to focus as another tool, bring your awareness to the center of your body. And also another tool is just maybe do nothing or come back to your breath. But all of these things are simply tools. So for me, I would develop this. I would go through the motions, and with practice, because like I said, we're meditating a lot, then I was able to develop a routine. I knew when my mind was wandering what tools to use. And when I was learning about mantras, that sound that you do over and over, for me in the beginning, it didn't resonate and it didn't make sense. And any time that I tried to use this mantra, it just didn't work. So of course, naturally, what did I do? I said, nah, I'm not using this. It does not work for me. So let me go back to my visualization, and that seems to do the trick. So I kept practicing. My meditation started to get better. But one day, then my mind was very active. And it just kept jumping, monkey mind, from one thing to the next. And I tried to use my normal tools that I usually use, but this meditation, it didn't work. And I was getting so frustrated. And I said, you know what, let me try something new and let me try a mantra. And surprisingly, for the first time, the thing that I rolled out in this moment, wow, it worked. And it was a game changer. And for me, this was a big lesson. And the lesson that it taught me was that our mind, our state of mind, it's constantly changing. Because our mind and our situation is constantly in a state of flux, then the tools that we need to use needs to fit for that moment. And for me, I was so attached to a way of doing things, but this experience really taught me of check in for that moment. In this moment, with the state of your mind, what tools work for this specific moment here and now? And from that, now I've been able to use a mantra. So very long story, but coming back to how does it relate to you and how does it relate to your life? And how it relates is that life is challenging, life is hard. We'll have many situations that come up. Some days it's less stressful, some days it's overwhelming and it's very heavy. And how that applies is then the first thing that we need to do is develop your toolbox of coping skills. When life gets heavy, what works for you that are healthy to release? So I would say the first step is get out a sheet of paper and start to brainstorm, because this is going to be your toolbox. And now build it out, develop it, because sometimes people just have one tool. Sometimes people, this is even more dangerous, they have no tools. And in that moment, you're just guessing. But for me is heaviness will be there. The challenges will be there. So the best thing to do is to prepare. Build out your coping skills. Some things can be, and again, experiment. Experiment and try it out and keep adding on to this. So going to the gym, going for a walk, going to do meditation, going on a retreat, doing a drive, cleaning your room, talking to a therapist, talking to a monk, calling your healthy friends, utilizing and accessing books and podcasts, sometimes even resting and doing nothing can be a coping skill or a coping tool to help release that burden and heaviness. So these are just a few things, but we can expand it so much bigger. Some things that may work for me may not be effective for you, but it's okay. Keep building it out, keep trying, so then you have this big list. And again, when things get heavy, come back to this toolbox and go through in this moment. What resonates with me to get rid or release some of this heaviness? Okay, there you go. In this moment, I'm gonna go for a walk. In this moment, I need to call a friend. But just take time to check in, and anything that you use that is healthy, it's okay. Why I'm sharing this with you is sometimes we can get locked in. And well, Venerable Nick shared a tool that is very helpful for me, which is journaling or gratitude list. And every time I keep going back to it. But yeah, sometimes it works. Sometimes we can be so overwhelmed where we need something else in that moment. So be adaptable and come back and check in with yourself. And also the second piece to that is then we don't beat ourselves up. How many of you are going through this self-development phase and you know journaling is good for you? You miss doing that, and then now there you go again. I'm a failure. But for me, it's no, you're not a failure. This is just an opportunity for you to increase your toolbox with more tools. This is also your opportunity to try and experiment and adapt for that situation. And it's a great thing because you're using your wisdom. You're checking in with yourself. You're being kind to yourself, and all of these things are so fantastic. So there you have it. This is just my 2 cents of what do you do when life gets so heavy and you need a way to release. Is check in, use the tool that would be effective for that moment. What does that moment require? And to do this, we need to be adaptable. We need to build out our toolbox with more tools. The analogy that comes to my mind, there's a saying, I might be butchering this, but there's something along the lines of, if you see yourself as a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. And then you'll keep hammering everything. But life does not work that way. Life comes in various forms, and for that situation, we need various tools. So build out your toolbox and really assess, in this moment, what do I need? And if you already have your toolbox built out, then just go through the list. Pick one and gently use that tool for that moment, and just take it step by step. Very easy and simple. But I hope that is helpful. And as always, I wanted to send you my blessings all the way from Azusa, California, and talk to you soon. Satu everyone. Take care.